Wow, today was a huge day. PBM, I literally alerted this about 7:40. I think I got in around 7:47. So I did announce this in my Discord group. I definitely want you guys to join. I put out stocks daily. Options, we're starting to get out of options trading. I'm starting to focus more on these penny stocks, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But let's take a look at the chart on PBM and exactly what I was looking at this morning. So we had this nice little bump here, which caused PBM to go over into, to be picked up by the scanner on TradingView. The good thing with TradingView is that it is a useful resource for today's trading world. It is an all-in-one. We've all been using it, indicators, news, scanners, et cetera, et cetera. The good thing with it is it does have an unusual volume, pre-market, regular hours, stock gainer, scanner built into it by default. You can build your own, but I've been noticing that the ones that everyone's using, or the picks that everyone typically calls out, the infamous Timothy Sykes, Ross Camerons, all those guys, these stocks are showing up on the same, or on the picks that they call out are the same stocks that are showing up on these scanners. So this one, I'm going to show you that this is what the scanner looks like on desktop. Now, I was over at unusual volume. When you're on the mobile version, iPad, phone, whatever the case may be, it's going to have the top 6, okay? Unusual volume, stock gainers in the section. If you go down to the Explore button and hit Explore, choose stocks, scroll down to unusual volume, stock gainers, pre-market, regular hours, you're going to find what I'm looking at right now. It was the only one in the green. There was ones that were obviously making unusual volume and stock gainers pre-market, but at that real quick moment that I happened to be looking at them, they were in the red while PBM was in the green. I think it was up like 27, 30%. And I checked the chart on it, and this is what it looked like. It was up over here at 710 was the high, and then it fell down, right? So when I looked at it, it was at I put this out at 740. So I was watching it at 730, and I went ahead and said, you know what? I think this stock's got plenty of volume, more so than it ever has. So the volume, relative volume was up, and it broke right here. And I was like, okay, this is going to be one to watch. So it went up, and it came right back down. And right 747 was right around this area. It was support, and it didn't break here on the 20 EMA, and it didn't hit the VWAP. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a good day. So I think I put my first trade in like right here at 220, and I think it came back down. I went ahead and stayed in. I was like, okay, this is just a small pullback. Sellers, selling off their profits from here. It's going to retrace, but not much. If it comes through the EMA, I'm going to go ahead and sell. Well, the bottom here didn't. This did. At first, this did worry me. I seen it. It happened probably seconds. And I was like, okay, I'm not worrying about it. It's probably just, obviously it was green, so that's a good sign too. But it pulled back and then went right back up, and it bounced right off the 20 EMA. And I hung in there, and I think I sold pretty much right here. So 228, 220-ish, up to 287, 60 some cents, give or take. That's a good profit. I waited for it to settle down, and I didn't trade any more pre-market. I waited for the bell, seen what it was going to do, because I thought maybe, okay, this is it. Maybe it's one of those ones, it's going to dump at the bell, and that's it. Like, it's a pre-market, and that's the only thing that's going to happen. There's no news, nothing really pushing this thing. I think a couple of days ago there were. I don't see the news. Let me check. Okay, so the subsidiary Australian receives Human Research Ethics Committee approval to initiate phase 2B study. So 2 days ago. And then I don't see anything other than Bazinga now. So this was 2 days ago. So it's like, okay, there's no really recent news. So, chances are this may dump. Well, guess what? It didn't. And we broke the VWAP again with both the EMA, the VWAP, and it's trading above the 200 EMA, which I like. And so I got back in, I think, right around 278. So right around here on this candle right here. And I went ahead and wrote it up some more, pull back, waited. I think I sold right I think on this red candle, I was thinking maybe it was going to pop and it didn't, so I sold off 335. Well, what did I say? 333, another 50 cents. So that's another good move. And I think this pullback, I think I recall pulling back, waited, and I think I got back in right here, and I sold, I think, somewhere on this candle. So I waited for the pullback, 330-ish, and sold at 394 was my last order. So right around here. So definitely a good day in trading. Everything met my criteria. I did stick, I kind of hung in there. I probably should have sold all my sell-offs here, but I knew there was going to be some pullbacks. There's always that fear of missing out. There's always the people that were in early are selling off. It pulls back 38, 64%, whatever the Fibonacci retracements are. It pulls back to those certain key percentages, and then it takes off again. And it does that a couple of times. And then guess what? The bigger sell-off. We have a sell-off. More buyers start buying in because they're like, oh, I just caught this one on my scanner. I'm going to start buying in. Sellers start selling off for the day. Whether or not this is done for tomorrow, we've seen a couple stocks trade for the next day. The resistance zones, or the VWAP is the new resistance zones that you could call it as 330-ish. So tomorrow, these things could be, if they pop over 330, we could have another big day. And as long as everything stays under 330, it probably is just going to go ahead and sell off and trickle down back to $1.20, and then it'll take another couple days for good news. And actually, this thing was like 50 cents. So to be up this much, this thing has started climbing around that 2-day mark of when the good news came out, and then the day it really broke. And why I think it really broke today was, I would say, we did have a good run here. I want to just say, day traders. We all know these penny stocks are merely day traders. Institutions, not so much. The retail side, they really start getting interested in these stocks 2 or 3 days later after the news. It takes a couple days for these media outlets to start posting this stuff, and this is where the interest really kicks in. The day that it happens, you do see stuff like this. You see 75 cents all the way up to $1.37. People start buying, and then all of a sudden this huge volume comes in out of nowhere. I look for anything where the EMA 20 breaks my 200 EMA, and then it also breaks, guess what? The VWAP. The VWAP, once it's broke, it seems like everything starts taking off. Once we come back down, we're kind of waiting for the next bull run if it happens at the bell, and it does, and we take a look at the highest high. We could use this as a support zone, and if it breaks through there, we know that we can start trading that again. I traded it early based off rate, what did I say, 280 some? So I traded it based off the EMA bouncing off the VWAP, being above the EMA, obviously, and I used that as my go-ahead, my indicator to start buying again. This indicator took off, but it's a breakout, so it's basically saying that the green candle broke away from our resistance, and it popped through the resistance, so it was go time. This gave a short breakout. I don't really know why. This is a Lux Algo indicator. I use it basically just to kind of quickly see my support and resistance lines. I really don't pay attention to these breakouts. I mean, you can, and they usually go down to the next support. Like this would have been a good trade, 320 down to 291. But I usually don't short stocks. The infamous Timothy Sykes, I know he does, but I just don't like to short stocks. I'm more of I think Ross Cameron's only a buyer. I don't think he shorts. And it's because of that unlimited risk to the upside. I want to know that the max loss is what I bought for, and that's it. That's much easier to manage than wondering, will this thing go up to 20 and I'm out? I've got to make up that money and pay my broker. So anyways, I hope this video helped. This was a recap of how today was one of my best days in the personal space. Just really caught this one on the unusual volume which is a good indicator of volatility. And then I bounced over to pre-market gainers. And then once the bell hits, you want to literally just go over to the top gainers. We'll see where PBM is right now. It's number 2. So it's definitely taking, people like to trade with the trend. And when you start seeing the top 4 or 5 stocks and the gainers, they usually came from the pre-market. And again, look at your unusual volume, see what volatility exists in pre-market, see what's up. This is a quick little, it shows volume, it shows relative volume, shows market cap, doesn't show shares float, float, which is, it's okay not to see it, but I wish that maybe this could change. You can build your own indicator over here, but for some reason, the one I built does not show any of these, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it's late to show such stocks. And I just find that just using the default trading view scanner, unusual volume, check this, make sure they're moving, and then check to make sure it's on the pre-market gainers as well. Take a look at your top 3, 1, 2, and 3. If it's red like this, or pre-market change, if it happens to be dipping, it could just be the moment that you're looking at the stock, right? And that's totally fine. For me, when I looked at PBM, I saw that the others were down. I was like, okay, well, what's up right now? It didn't really matter. It could have been selling off. It just so happened. That's why I looked at PBM, and it was a sure enough win today. It could have been SGD. Let's take a look at SGD real quick. We'll just change this, SGD. Yeah, and we'll see the same thing. VWAP broke the resistance from yesterday's. The EMA is above, and it was a huge win. I mean, this thing literally went from 66 cents up to 266. So, 6 cents here was 10%. Once it's up to $1.20, 12 cents becomes 10 cents. And I mean, this thing just kept giving awesome moves. And this is probably definitely going to be on some of the YouTube channels, videos that you watch today with penny stockers or penny stock traders. And so again, just focus on volume levels continually to go up and be green, and the ratio to green bars to red. That's important too. If I see a lot of green and then there starts to be some red and then green again, I know that we're going to be okay. That's just common sense and understanding volume and how price action works. So anyways, I hope this video helped. Make sure you always like and subscribe and ask any questions that you may have, and come over to our Discord. I'll be glad to show you every day what stock I'm going to be watching, and more than likely it probably will jump. That's just how it happens. I traded options. Options are a lot more difficult, and not in the perspective of trading it. It's more about understanding things like theta decay, how the option contract, implied volatility, and historical volatility work. And then I've seen some things that just didn't make sense anymore. I've traded options for over 10 years, and some of the recent stuff that I've seen, support and resistance zones being broken when they shouldn't have. And I know hedge funds and institutions are doing some tricky stuff. Me being, that's where I came from at one point. The algorithms are just really tricking the retail side. So in order, literally just to make 100 to 200% without any other overhead, and knowing everything that involves options and just understanding price action, stop loss, movement, VWAP, it's so much more simpler to me and my trading style and how I'd rather make money. So again, ask those questions, and I'll see you in the next video.